Well, good morning to you all. What a lovely day, isn't it? Bit misty out there, but there we are. Hope everybody's okay. Staying well, that's the most important. Cornishman Day today. I haven't had a chance reading, I know that, not yet, but I shouldn't have cut the grass, that's one good thing. Now, birthdays. Well, before I say the birthdays, Friday the 11th of August, I'm down to the Masonic Lodge with the Macmillan, raising money for Macmillan. And if anybody wants to come, there's on the Friday evening. And I'm doing about JNF pools, history of JNF pools, and a few dialect stories. So you're welcome, and all the money's being raised is for Macmillan. But if you want to, you've got to either contact Suzanne Benny, who's in Hale, of course, and Veronica Froggatt. They're the ones that are organising it all. So come on down, have a little bit of history of JNF pools and a few stories as well. All right. Now, anyhow, birthdays. Nova Blackstock is today. Happy birthday to you. And yesterday was a great dear friend of mine, Paul Wilton's. It was his birthday, and another friend of mine, Rob Lello. So happy birthday to you yesterday, both of you. And tomorrow is birthday for Heather Page. So that's all the birthdays got took care of. Now I'm going to do a Herbert Lean one here today. Then I'm going to do a Johnny Barber. So Herbert, back in the Stone Age. It's hard to imagine, Jan, I observed, as a baby those long years ago. Such a foolish remark, it ignited a spark on which he was anxious to blow. We never had nothing, I started him off, and now he was up and away. I never had toys like the rest of the boys, nor even a game I could play. I had this old tin with a pebble inside, and he rattled away with a shake. I sit in my pram with this tin in my hand, and I'd see how much noise I could make. Isn't he handsome? My mother would say, but father would turn up his nose. Stop your row, he would shout as I wriggled about. Not a lover of kids, I suppose. And when you're a babby, you don't understand. I thought he was playing a game. Soon as father come in, I would rattle my tin and hammering up and down on the frame. He's so pleased to see you, poor mother would try to pass it all off for the best. In a way, she was right. I rejoiced in the sight of the hair standing up on his chest. One day I recall as I gurgled and shook and created one heck of a din, with one final bang and a crash and a clang, the lid came adrift from the tin. All that was left in the pram was the stone, so I trod him as hard as I could. He bounced off a plate and pitched down in the grate behind all the ashes and wood. Mother come running and picked up the tin, then rummaged around on the floor, then checked in the pram midst the biscuits and jam, and galloped away to the door. Next minute there's father arriving at speed and unsympathetic in tone. What's the trouble? He growled. Oh, William, she held, that boy been and swallowed the stone. Oh, there's nothing so daft as you woman, he said. You're softer than yesterday's lads. What's the matter with you? Use your brains, woman, do. There's plenty more stones in the yard. And this is Herbert Lean one, if I can get near. No, it's not Herbert Lean at all. It's Johnny Barber. Man from Tregenna. With steady stroke the boatman brought his little craft to land and gently guided her to rest upon the yielding sand. It was early yet for trippers, though it never could be said that Jim had ever missed a tide because he lay in bed. The skiff was barely grounded when a stranger stepped aboard, all togged off in his Sunday best, expenses of a lord. I'm in a hurry, boatman, a haughty voice said he. I'd like to view the castle of Tregenna from the sea. But tell me first of all, my man, what is your normal fare, and will you make what speed you can? I've little time to spare. Well, as a rule, sir, says old Jim, 'tis 18 pence an hour, but I may charge a little more for extra speed and power. So old Jim shipped the rocks locks then and rode with might and main until the castle on the hill emerged quite clear and plain. Then back again without a break, breath coming short and fast, he made the trip from 8 o'clock to 20 minutes past. The gent produced a watch of gold to calculate the fare, and tendered Jim a sixpence with a patronising air. The old chap smiled, a weary smile, yet whimsical and wry, then looked the stranger up and down, and slowly made him reply. You've seen Tregenna Castle, sir, as I agreed you should. I took 'ee out and back, sir, with all the speed I could. You're looking nice and cool, sir, and I am hot and wet. You reckoned all at the time all right, but what about the sweat? Looks like maybe deceiving, sir. I'm glad I took 'ee out, but could you keep your tanner, sir? My charge for you is nowt. I've little cause to brag, sir, but of this you may be sure, although I need the money bad, I'll never fleece the poor. Old Jim was thorough, he said his piece, the toff was ill at ease, the boatman's charity, it seemed, did not exactly please. Take this, old chap, he said, and buy yourself a smoke. I'm not so poor as you suppose, 'twas just my little joke. Well, thank ye kindly, sir, says Jim. Call any time you're down. I always do enjoy a joke, along with half a crown. Have a nice weekend.